Rizal's own story of his life. In the history of mankind there are names which of themselves signify achievements. They call forth reverence and remind us of greatness. Edited by Austin Craig, Rizal. Research Professor in the University of the Philippines. National Book Company. Manila 1918. Copyright 1918 by Austin Craig. Registered in the Philippine Islands. Printed in the United States of America, Philippine Islands. Press of E.C. McCullough & Co., Manila, P.I. The memory of Rizal is kept alive in many ways. 1. A province near Manila bears his name. 2. The anniversary of his death is a public holiday. 3. A memorial school has been built by the insular government in his native town. 4. His home in exile has been made a national park. 5. The first destroyer of the future Philippine Navy is named Rizal. 6. Rizal's portrait appears on the 2-peso bill. 7. Rizal's portrait appears on the 2-centavo postage stamp. But this strife is not a brute-like, selfish struggle nor with men alone. It is a strife with men, and at the same time with one's own passions. It is a struggle with the proprieties, with errors, with prejudices. It is a never-ending striving, with a smile on the lips and the tears in the heart. On this battlefield, man has no better weapon than his intelligence. He possesses no more force than he has spirit. Bring out your intelligence, then, and improve it. Strengthen and educate yourself, that you may be prepared for the struggle. Filipino Proverbs. The proverbs and the puzzles were published, with comments here omitted, in True Ebner's Oriental Magazine, London, June and July. Issues of 1889. Rizal's own English. 1. Low words are stronger than loud words. 2. A petted child is generally naked, i.e. poor. 3. Parents' punishment makes one fat. 4. New king, new fashion. 5. Man promises while in need. 6. He who believes in tales has no mind of his own. 7. The most difficult to rouse from sleep is the man who pretends to be asleep. 8. Too many words, too little work. 9. The sleeping shrimp is carried away by the current. 10. The fish is caught through the mouth. Filipino puzzles. He carries me, I carry him. The shoes. A deep well filled with steel blades. The mouth. Rizal's don'ts. Condensed from the regulations of the Philippine League, Liga Filipino, a cooperative economic society which Rizal organized in Manila just before his deportation, in 1892. Don't gamble. Don't be a drunkard. Don't break the laws. Don't be cruel in any way. Don't be a rabid partisan. Don't be merely a fault-finding critic. Don't put yourself in the way of humiliation. Don't treat anyone with haughtiness or contempt. Don't condemn anyone without first hearing his side. Don't abandon the poor man who has right on his side. Don't forget those who, worthily, have come to want. Don't fail those without means who show application and ability. Don't associate with immoral persons or with persons of bad habits. Don't overlook the value to our country of new machinery and industries. Don't ever cease working for the prosperity and welfare of our native land. Hymn to Labor. Written expressly for the exercises celebrating the erection of the Pueblo of Lipa, Batangas, into a villa, but received too late to be used on that occasion. Translation by Charles Derbyshire. Men. Now the east with light is reddening, and to our fields and tasks we fare, by the toil of man sustaining life and home and country there. Though the earth be hard and stubborn, and the sun unpitying glow, for our country and our homes, love an easy way will show. Chorus. For his country in peace, For his country in war. Let the Filipino work. Let him live, let him die. Matrons. Go then joyous to your labor. While the wife awaits you here. With the children learning from her. To hold truth and country dear. When night brings you weary homeward. May peace and joy await you there. But if fate unkindly frown. She your stubborn task will share. Chorus. For his country in peace. For his country in war. Let the Filipino work. Let him live, let him die. Maidens. Hail to labor. Blessed be it. For it brings our country wealth. May we ever hold it sacred. 'Tis our country's life and health. If the youth would win our favor. By his work his faith be shown. Only he who toils and struggles. Will support and keep his own. Chorus. For his country in peace. For his country in war. Let the Filipino work. Let him live, let him die. Boys. Show us then the way to labor. The road you ope to guide our feet. So that when our country calls us. We your task may then complete. And the old men then will bless us. Saying, they are worthy of their sires. For the dead are honored most. By sons whom true worth inspires. Chorus. For his country in peace. For his country in war. Let the Filipino work. Let him live, let him die. Memory gems from Rizal'S writings. Without liberty there is no light. One evil does not correct another. My dearest wish is the happiness of my country. It is a useless life which is not consecrated to a great idea. A man keeps his independence while he holds to his own way of thinking. If our country is ever to be free, it will not be through vice and crime. Knowledge is the heritage of mankind, but only the courageous inherit it. It is better to honor a good man in life than to worship him after he is dead. Resignation is not always a virtue, it is a crime when it encourages tyrants. In the flames of war those who suffer most are the defenseless and the innocent. I have worked for the good of my native land, I have consecrated my life to the welfare of others. We need criticism to keep us awake. It makes us see our weaknesses, so that we may correct them. There are three ways in which one may accompany the course of progress. In front of, beside, or behind it. Where are the young men who will consecrate their best years, their ambitions and their enthusiasms to the welfare of their native land? Marayang Makiling. This story is a favorite in my town. Marayang Makiling was a young woman. She lived somewhere on the beautiful mountain Makiling, between Laguna province and Teodora province. No one knew just where or how she lived. Some said she lived in a beautiful palace surrounded by gardens. Others said she lived in a poor hut made of nipa and bamboo. Maria was tall and graceful. Her color was a clear, pure brown. Kaumanging kalagatan, as the Tagalogs say. Her eyes were big and black. Her hair was long and thick. Her hands and feet were small and delicate. She was a fairy-like creature born under the moonbeams of the Philippines. She flitted in and out among the woods of Makiling. She was the ruling spirit of the mountain, but she seldom came within sight of man. Hunters sometimes saw Maria on the night of Good Friday when they went out to trap deer. She would be standing motionless on the edge of some great cliff. Her long hair floated in the wind. She sometimes approached them. She would salute them gravely, then pass on and disappear among the shadows of the trees. They never dared to question her, to follow her, or to watch her. She liked best to appear after a storm. Then she would scurry over the fields, bringing back life to the fallen plants, and setting everything to rights. The trees straightened up their wind-blown trunks. The Streams went back into their beds. All signs of the storm disappeared. As she passed, Mariang Makiling had a very good heart. She used to lend the poor country folk clothing or jewels for weddings, baptisms, and feast days. All she asked in return was a pullet as white as milk. It had to be a dumalaga, that is, one that had never laid an egg. Sometimes she appeared as a simple country girl and helped the poor old women to pick up firewood. Then she would slip gold nuggets, coins and jewels into their bundles of wood. A hunter was one day chasing a wild boar through the tall grass and thorny bushes. Suddenly he came to a hut in which the animal hid. A beautiful young woman came out and said, "The wild boar belongs to me. You have done wrong to chase it, but I see that you are very tired. Your arms and legs are covered with blood. Come in and eat. Then you may go on your way." The man was charmed by the beauty of the young woman. He went in and ate everything she offered him. But he was not able to speak a single word. Before the hunter left, the young woman gave him some pieces of ginger. She told him to give them to his wife for her cooking. The hunter thanked her and put the roots inside the crown of his broad hat. On the way home his hat felt heavy. So he took out a number of the pieces and threw them away. He was surprised and sorry the next day when his wife discovered that what they had taken to be ginger was solid gold. The supposed roots were bright as rays of sunshine. But Mariang Makiling was not always kind and generous to the hunters. Sometimes she punished them. One afternoon 2 hunters were coming down the mountain, carrying some wild boars and deer which they had killed during the day. They met an old woman who begged them to give her a quarter. They thought that was too much to give, so they refused. The old woman said that she would go and tell the mistress of those animals, and she left them. This threat made the hunters laugh heartily. When night had fallen and the two were near the plain, they heard a distant shout, very distant, as though it came from the top of the mountain. "There they go, oh oh oh." Then another even more distant cry replied, "There they go, oh oh oh." That cry surprised both the hunters, who could not account for it. On hearing it, the dogs stuck up their ears. They uttered low growls and drew nearer to their masters. In a few minutes the same cry was heard again, this time from the mountainside. On hearing it, the dogs thrust their tails between their legs and came close to their masters. The men stared at each other without saying a word. They were astonished that the one who uttered the cry could travel so far in such a short time. When they reached the plain, the fearful cry was heard again. This time, it was so clear and distinct that both looked back. In the moonlight, they could see two strange, gigantic shapes coming down the mountain at full speed. Both hunters ran as fast as they could with such heavy loads. Still the strange creatures came nearer. The men, coming to a spring called Bukal, threw down their burdens and climbed a tree, and the dogs fled toward the town. The monsters came up, and in a few seconds devoured the wild boars and deer and went back toward the mountain. Only then did the hunters recover. The more courageous took aim, but his gun missed fire and the monsters escaped. No one ever knew whether Mariang Makiling had parents, brothers and sisters, or other kin. Such persons spring up naturally, like the stones the Tagalogs call mutya. No one ever knew her real name. She was simply called Maria. No one ever saw her enter the town or take part in any religious ceremony. She remained ever the same. The 5 or 6 generations that knew her always saw her young, fresh, sprightly, and pure. For many years now no one has seen her on Makiling. Her vapor figure no longer wanders through the deep valleys. It no longer hovers over the waterfall on the serene moonlight nights. The melancholy tone of her mysterious harp is no longer heard. Now lovers are married, without getting from her either jewels or presents. Mariang Makiling has disappeared. Some blame the people of a certain town who not only refused to give her the customary white pullet but even failed to return the jewels and clothing borrowed. Others say that Mariang Makiling is offended because some landlords are trying to take half of the mountain. A chronology of the life of José Rizal. 1848, June 28. Rizal's parents married in Calamba, La Laguna. Francisco Rizal Mercado y Alejandra, born in Binan, April 18, 1818. And Teodora Morales Alonso Realonda y Quintas, born in Sta Cruz, Manila, November 14, 1827. 1861, June 19. Rizal born, their seventh child. June 22. Christened as José Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realonda. 1870, age 9. In school at Binan under Master Justiniano Aquin Cruz. 1871, age 10. In Calamba Public School under Master Lucas Padua. 1872, June 10. Age 11. Examined in San Juan de Letran College, Manila, which, during the Spanish time, as part of Santo Tomas University, controlled entrance to all higher institutions. June 26. Entered the Ateneo Municipal de Manila, then a public school, as a day scholar. 1875, June 14. Age 14. Became a boarder in the Ateneo. 1876, March 23. Age 15. Received the Bachelor of Arts, BA, degree, with highest honors, from Ateneo de Manila. June. Entered Santo Tomas University in Philosophy course. 1877, June. Age 16. Matriculated in medical course. 1 Liso Artistico Literario Prize, in poetical competition for Indians and Mestizos, with poem to Philippine youth. November 29. Awarded Diploma of Honorable Mention and Merit by Royal Economic Society of Friends of the Country, Amigos del País, for Prize Poem. 1880, April 23. Age 19. Received Liso Artistico Literario Diploma of Honorable Mention for Allegory the Council of the Gods, in competition open to Spaniards, Mestizos, and Indians. Unjustly deprived of first prize. December 8. Operetta on the banks of the Pasig produced. 1881. Age 20. Submitted winning wax model design for commemorative medal for Royal Economic Society of Friends of the Country Centennial. Wounded in the back for not saluting a Guardia Civil lieutenant whom he had not seen. His complaint was ignored by the authorities. 1882, May 3. Age 21. Secretly left Manila, with passport of a cousin, taking at Singapore a French mail steamer for Marseilles and entering Spain at Portbou by railroad. Money furnished by his brother Paisano Mercado. June. Absence noted at Santo Tomas University, which owned Calamba estate. Rizal's father was compelled to prove that he had had no knowledge of his son's plan in order to hold the land on which he was the university's tenant. July 9. A student in Barcelona. November 3. Began studies in Madrid. 1885, June 19. Age 24. Received degree of licentiate in medicine with honors from Central University of Madrid. 1886, June. Age 25, received degree of licentiate in philosophy. With honors and special mention in Latin, Greek, and Hebrew, from Central University of Madrid. Clinical assistant to Dr. L. de Weckert, a Paris oculist. Visited universities of Heidelberg, Leipzig, and Berlin. 1887, February 21. Age 26, finished novel Noli Me Tangere in Berlin. Traveled in Austria, Switzerland, and Italy. July 3, sailed from Marseilles. August 5, arrived in Manila. Traveled in nearby provinces with a Spanish lieutenant, detailed by the Governor-General, as escort. 1888, February, sailed for Japan via Hong Kong. February 28, APR 13. Age 27, a guest at Spanish legation, Tokyo, and traveling in Japan. April, May, traveling in the United States. May 24, in London, studying in the British Museum to edit Morgas. 1609, Philippine history. 1889, March. Age 28, in Paris, publishing Morgas history. Published. The Philippines a Century Hence in La Solidaridad, a Filipino. Fortnightly Review, first of Barcelona and later of Madrid. 1890, February, July. Age 29, in Belgium and Holland, finishing L. Filibusterismo, The Reign of Greed, which is the sequel to Noli Me Tangere. Published The Indolence of the Filipino in La Solidaridad. August 4, returned to Madrid to confer with countrymen on the Philippine situation, then constantly growing worse. 1891, January 27, left Madrid for France. November. Age 30, arranging for a Filipino agricultural colony in British North Borneo. Practiced medicine in Hong Kong. 1892, June 26. Age 31, returned to Manila under Governor-General Despujol's safe conduct. Organized Mutual Aid Economic Society Liga Filipina. July 6, ordered deported to Dapitan, but the decree and charges were kept secret from him. Taught school and conducted a hospital during exile, patients coming from China coast ports for treatment. Fees thus earned were used to beautify the town. Arranged a water system and had the plaza lighted. 1896, August 1. Age 35, left Dapitan en route to Spain as a volunteer surgeon for the Cuban yellow fever hospitals. Carried letters of recommendation from Governor-General Blanco. August 7, Sep 3, on Spanish cruiser Castillo in Manila Bay. Sailed for Spain on Spanish mail steamer and just after leaving port said was confined to cabin as a prisoner on cabled order from Manila. Governor-General Blanco's promotion had been purchased by Rizal'S enemies to secure appointment of a Governor-General subservient to them, the Servil Polavieja. October 5, placed in Montjuic Castle dungeon on arrival in Barcelona. And the same day re-embarked for Manila. Friends and countrymen in London by cable made an unsuccessful effort for a habeas corpus writ at Singapore. On arrival in Manila was placed in Fort Santiago dungeon. December 3, charged with treason, sedition, and forming illegal societies. The prosecution arguing that he was responsible for the deeds of those who read his writings. December 12, wrote poem My Last Farewell and concealed it in an alcohol cooking lamp, after appearing in a courtroom where the judges made no effort to check those who cried out for his death. December 15, wrote an address to insurgent Filipinos to lay down their arms because their insurrection was at that time hopeless. Address not made public but added to the charges against him. December 26, formally condemned to death by Spanish court-martial Pi y Margal, who had been president of the Spanish Republic, pleaded with the prime minister for Rizal's life, but the queen regent could not forgive his having referred in one of his writings to the murder by, and suicide of, her relative, Crown Prince Rudolph of Austria. December 30. Married in Fort Santiago death cell to Josephine Bracken. Irish, the adopted daughter of a blind American who came to Dapitan for treatment. Age 35 years, 6 months, 11 days. Shot on the Luneta, Manila, at 7:30 a.m., and buried in a secret grave in Paco Cemetery. Entry of death made on back flyleaf of Paco Church Register, among suicides. 1897, January commemorated by Spanish Freemasons who dedicated a tablet to his memory, in their Grand Lodge Hall in Madrid, as a martyr to liberty. 1898, August grave sought, immediately after the American capture of Manila, by Filipinos who placed over it, in Paco Cemetery, a cross inscribed simply December 30, 1896. Since his death his name had never been spoken by his countrymen, but all references had been to the dead, el difunto. December 30 memorial services held by Filipinos and American soldiers on duty carried their arms reversed. 1911, June 19 birth semi-centennial observed in all public schools by act of Philippine legislature. 1912, December 30 ashes transferred to the Rizal Mausoleum on the Luneta with impressive public ceremonies.